Shawshank Redemption cast reveals what most fans never figured out. Get ready to uncover the hidden depths of one of cinema's most celebrated masterpieces. From shocking behind-the-scenes revelations to profound symbolic meanings, this is the untold story of the Shawshank Redemption that will change how you see this beloved film forever. 1. The unlikely masterpiece. In the pantheon of cinema, few films have achieved the legendary status of The Shawshank Redemption. Often hailed as the greatest film never to win Best Picture, this prison drama's journey to greatness mirrors its own narrative of patience and perseverance. While it initially stumbled at the box office, the film found its redemption through relentless word of mouth and countless cable television broadcasts, transforming it from a commercial disappointment into a cultural phenomenon. 2. The dollar deal that changed cinema. The film's extraordinary journey began with an unprecedented deal. When Frank Darabont approached Stephen King about adapting his novella, Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, King was initially hesitant. The story's introspective nature seemed unsuitable for film adaptation. However, through King's innovative Dollar Baby program, Darabont secured the rights for just $1, a decision that would prove priceless. This unique arrangement granted the production team remarkable creative freedom, allowing them to craft the story without typical studio interference. As Tim Robbins later revealed, this independence became the foundation of the film's authentic storytelling approach. 3. The Living Prison. The decision to film at Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield wasn't just about finding a suitable location, it was about capturing the soul of Shawshank Prison. The facility, shuttered in 1990 due to inhumane conditions, became more than a backdrop. It transformed into a silent character that profoundly influenced every performance. The cast has spoken about the tangible weight of history within those walls, with Clancy Brown, Captain Hadley, describing how the prison's atmosphere naturally shaped their performances. The building's imposing architecture and dark history created an authenticity that no studio set could replicate, infusing every scene with a haunting realism that resonates throughout the film. The prison's influence extended beyond the physical, seeping into the psychological approach of the actors. Every morning, as they walked through those towering gates, they stepped into a world where hope struggled against despair, where freedom was more than just a physical state, it was a state of mind. This immersive experience helped create the raw, genuine performances that would later captivate audiences worldwide. 4. Method acting behind bars. The commitment to authenticity in The Shawshank Redemption went far beyond conventional filmmaking. Tim Robbins, determined to understand Andy Dufresne's psychological journey, would spend hours alone in the claustrophobic 6-by-8-foot cells between takes. When that door closed, he recalled in a 2019 interview, something primal awakened inside you. The walls didn't just close in, they spoke to you. What adds another layer of authenticity to the film's atmosphere is the presence of former inmates among the extras. Director Frank Darabont's decision to hire men who had actually served time in Ohio State Reformatory brought an unscripted reality to every yard scene and mess hall sequence. Their weathered faces and knowing glances weren't performances. They were memories etched in time. 5. The art of invisible detail. The production team's dedication to realism manifested in subtle ways that most viewers process subconsciously. They meticulously aged the prison walls differently for scenes set across decades, creating a reverse timeline where the walls became progressively cleaner as the story moved backward. Morgan Freeman noted how this attention to detail transformed his approach to Red. I wasn't just playing a prisoner in a movie set. I was inhabiting the skin of a man who had spent decades in this specific hellhole. Each actor crafted elaborate backstories that, while never explicitly mentioned on screen, informed every nuance of their performances. Freeman imagined Red as a former numbers runner from the 1930s, a man who once wielded power in the black community before losing everything. This backstory explained Red's exceptional ability to get things and his immediate connection with Andy Dufresne, another man who had fallen from grace. Tim Robbins approached Andy Dufresne as two distinct characters, the careful, methodical persona that Shawshank's inhabitants saw, and the real Andy who emerged in private moments. This duality manifested in subtle physical changes, rigid movements in public scenes, contrasting with fluid natural gestures during solitary moments, like the famous opera scene. Perhaps the most touching character development came from James Whitmore's portrayal of Brooks Hatlin. Drawing from personal experience, Whitmore based the elderly librarian's tragic arc on his own father's struggle with depression. The heartbreaking scene of Brooks feeding birds in the park, a moment Whitmore himself suggested, wasn't just acting. It was a son's tribute to his father's loneliness, lending the sequence an emotional authenticity that continues to move audiences decades later. 6. The hidden language of cinema. The brilliance of Shawshank lies not just in its storytelling, but in its masterful use of visual symbolism. Tim Robbins revealed a fascinating cinematographic pattern that speaks volumes about Andy's psychological imprisonment. Throughout the film, Darabont deliberately frames Andy behind bars, fences, or architectural barriers, even in scenes where he's technically free. While other characters move unrestricted through the same spaces, Andy remains visually caged, a subtle yet powerful reminder of his unique burden. He's imprisoned not just by steel bars, but by his innocence, his past life, and the weight of his elaborate escape plan. 7. Layers of meaning in pivotal moments. The iconic rooftop scene, where prisoners taste freedom while tarring the prison roof, carries deeper significance than initially apparent. Morgan Freeman revealed that this sequence marks the genesis of Andy's master plan. While other inmates savor their beer in the sunshine, we're witnessing Andy's first step toward becoming the prison's financial wizard, an identity crucial to his eventual escape. The symbolism is masterfully crafted. Andy stands literally above his prison, orchestrating his freedom, while others see only a welcome break from routine. The film's most quoted line, "Get busy living" or "Get busy dying," serves as more than memorable dialogue. According to Clancy Brown, this phrase was Darabont's North Star throughout production, prominently displayed in the production office as a reminder of the film's central theme. Every character's journey reflects this fundamental choice between hope and despair, life and death. Andy's defiant opera broadcast becomes an anthem of life, while Brooks's tragic farewell represents surrender to despair. 8. The evolution of freedom. The progression of Andy's cell posters, from Rita Hayworth to Marilyn Monroe to Raquel Welch, tells its own story of transformation. Tim Robbins explained how each poster represents not just different eras, but stages in Andy's journey toward freedom. Rita Hayworth embodies the classical refinement of Andy's past life. Marilyn Monroe reflects the complexity of his prison existence, and Raquel Welch, portrayed as a primitive cave woman, symbolizes the primal struggle for survival and rebirth. These aren't mere decorations or tunnel covers, they're a visual chronicle of Andy's metamorphosis from civilized banker to raw survivor, each image marking his progression toward ultimate freedom. This layered storytelling transforms Shawshank from a prison drama into a rich tapestry of visual metaphors and hidden meanings, rewarding observant viewers with deeper insights with each viewing. 9. The visual poetry of freedom. The progression of Andy's wall posters tells a profound story of transformation. Each image, Rita Hayworth, Marilyn Monroe, and Raquel Welch, represents a stage in Andy's psychological journey. Rita appears fully clothed, embodying societal restraint. Marilyn strikes a more liberated pose, while Raquel, nearly naked, symbolizes raw freedom. This careful progression makes the iconic shot of the fluttering poster after Andy's escape even more meaningful. It's not just concealing his escape route, but representing the final barrier between captivity and liberation. 10. Nature's narrative. The film's masterful use of weather as a storytelling device creates an unconscious emotional undertone throughout. Morgan Freeman's revelation about this technique opens our eyes to a pattern. Rain accompanies tragedy during the sisters' attacks, the warden's suicide, and Tommy's murder. Andy's escape unfolds during nature's most dramatic display, a thunderstorm matching the scene's intensity. But the most powerful weather symbolism comes in the final scene, where bright sunshine bathes the Mexican beach, the only genuinely beautiful weather in the entire film. Every other outdoor scene carries a gray cast, emphasizing the prison's perpetual gloom until freedom finally breaks through. 11. The power of last-minute magic. The emotional core of the film, Red's famous "Get Busy Living" scene, almost didn't exist. This pivotal moment where Red finally embraces hope and decides to find Andy was a late addition to save the Mexico reunion from being cut. The studio's concern about length inadvertently led to one of cinema's most powerful character transformations. Morgan Freeman's revelation about this scene's origins highlights how it fundamentally shifted the film's meaning, making it not just Andy's tale of physical escape, but Red's journey to emotional freedom. 12. The heart of institutionalization. Brooks Hatlin's devastating story arc, barely a footnote in Stephen King's novella, became one of the film's most profound commentaries on institutionalization. James Whitmore's portrayal transformed this minor character into a powerful symbol of the prison system's psychological impact. His tragic inability to adapt to freedom serves as a dark mirror to Andy's unwavering hope, showing how prison walls can extend far beyond their physical boundaries, becoming permanent barriers in the mind. 13. Brooks's legacy, the price of freedom. The decision to expand Brooks's character fundamentally reshaped the Shawshank Redemption's emotional core. His tragic arc serves as a haunting mirror to Red's eventual journey, creating a masterful study in contrasts that elevates the film's exploration of hope versus despair. When studio executives pushed to cut the Brooks sequence, claiming it derailed the main narrative, Darabont stood his ground with remarkable conviction. Without showing what happens to Brooks, he explained, Red's final journey becomes meaningless. One man chooses fear, the other chooses hope. These parallel paths give the story its soul. The simple yet devastating message, "Brooks was here," carved into the wooden beam, transforms from a mere prisoner's graffiti into a profound statement about existence itself. When Red later adds his own mark, "So was Red," he's not just leaving a signature, he's declaring his independence from institutional fate, choosing a different ending to his story. 14. The real-life villain behind the bars. The film's antagonist, Warden Norton, draws shocking parallels to actual prison history. Bob Gunton's portrayal was informed by a real 1950s prison official who forced inmates to renovate his personal property while maintaining a facade of Christian virtue. The newspaper clippings Frank gave me revealed a man whose hypocrisy was almost beyond belief, Gunton shared. He quoted scripture while treating prisoners like personal slaves. This historical foundation adds chilling authenticity to Norton's carefully constructed character, his obsession with appearances, his weaponized Christianity, and ultimately his inability to face judgment. The warden's suicide scene takes on new meaning when viewed through this lens. It's not merely fear of imprisonment that drives him to pull the trigger, but the complete destruction of his carefully manufactured righteous persona. 15. Redefining redemption. The film's title carries deeper meaning than most viewers realize. Tim Robbins revealed that Redemption manifests not just in Andy's escape, but in his transformation of Shawshank itself. Andy redeems everything he touches, Robbins explained. The library becomes a sanctuary of knowledge. The prison walls become his canvas, and even the darkest corners of Shawshank are illuminated by his unwavering spirit. Morgan Freeman offered additional insight into Red's personal redemption. It's not about freedom from prison, it's about freedom from pretense. When Red finally speaks his truth to the parole board, that's his real escape. This layered interpretation elevates the film beyond a mere prison break narrative into a profound meditation on human dignity in the face of systematic dehumanization, explaining why it continues to resonate so deeply with audiences worldwide. 16. The essence of hope and redemption. At its core, The Shawshank Redemption transcends typical prison narratives, delving deep into the human spirit's capacity for resilience. It masterfully explores how the soul can be imprisoned not just by physical walls, but by lies, fear, and the crushing weight of hopelessness. Through its intricate storytelling, the film demonstrates that true redemption comes not just from breaking free, but from maintaining one's humanity in the face of dehumanizing circumstances. 17. The battle for the perfect ending. Perhaps the most shocking revelation from the production team concerns the film's iconic conclusion. The beach reunion between Andy and Red, consistently ranked among cinema's most uplifting endings, nearly became a victim of studio interference. Frank Darabont revealed an intense behind-the-scenes battle with executives who pushed to end the film with Red simply on the bus, heading toward the Mexican border. Their arguments centered on runtime concerns and a belief that showing the actual reunion was superfluous. However, Darabont stood firm, understanding that the film's essence wasn't merely about hope, it was about hope fulfilled. Without that beach scene, he explained, we'd leave audiences in the same uncertainty that haunted Red throughout his journey. The story demanded closure. Tim Robbins later shared a fascinating production detail. They filmed the reunion scene first, before he and Morgan Freeman had developed their on-screen chemistry. This deliberate choice created the perfect emotional tenor, that slightly awkward, tentative quality that perfectly captures two old friends reconnecting after years apart. The subtle restraint in their reunion feels genuine precisely because it wasn't performed through the lens of their later developed rapport. 18. The musical journey of hope. Thomas Newman's Oscar-nominated score represents another layer of masterful storytelling, though its brilliance often works on a subconscious level. The music evolves throughout the film, mirroring Andy's journey from despair to triumph. Early prison scenes feature austere, mechanical compositions that gradually transform into warmer, more hopeful arrangements, a progression so subtle that most viewers feel rather than consciously notice it. The score's most powerful moment accompanies the heartbreaking "Brooks Was Here" sequence. James Whitmore noted how the music doesn't manipulate emotions, but rather captures Brooks's profound confusion, the paradox of finding himself physically free yet more imprisoned than ever. While the Academy Award went to Hans Zimmer's The Lion King, many film scholars now regard Newman's nuanced composition as one of cinema's most effective emotional narratives, demonstrating how music can tell a story as eloquently as any visual or dialogue. This delicate interplay between visual storytelling and musical composition creates a symphony of hope, where every note serves the larger narrative of redemption and renewal. Like Andy's methodical tunnel digging, Newman's score gradually chips away at our emotional defenses, creating a path to catharsis that feels both earned and inevitable. 19. From box office bust to cultural phenomenon. The Shawshank Redemption's initial theatrical release reads like a cautionary tale of Hollywood disappointment. Competing against cinematic giants Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, the film struggled to find its footing, earning a mere $16 million against its $25 million budget. But like Andy Dufresne's own journey, this setback was just the beginning of an extraordinary story. Morgan Freeman often reflects on the film's remarkable second act. "It was cable television that saved us," he explains. TNT started airing it, and something magical happened. People didn't just watch it once. They made it part of their lives. This persistent presence on television, combined with the booming VHS rental market, transformed Shawshank from a commercial failure into a cultural touchstone. 20. The power of patience. Tim Robbins sees profound poetry in the film's gradual rise to prominence. "Here's a movie about patience, about the long game," he notes, and it needed exactly that from the world to be recognized. Just as Andy spent decades carefully crafting his escape plan, Shawshank spent years quietly building its reputation, one viewing at a time, one recommendation after another. By 2019, this patient persistence had elevated the film to the top of IMDb's user-ranked list of greatest films, surpassing legendary works like The Godfather and Citizen Kane. It's a testament to the power of word of mouth and the enduring appeal of authentic storytelling. 21. A Prison's Redemption. Perhaps the most fascinating chapter in Shawshank's legacy is the transformation of its filming location. The Ohio State Reformatory, once a symbol of institutional cruelty, has been reborn as a celebrated tourist destination. Over 100,000 visitors annually walk the same corridors where Andy and Red's story unfolded, examining everything from Andy's cell to a recreation of his famous escape tunnel. The impact extends beyond mere tourism. Mansfield, Ohio, has embraced its cinematic heritage, creating a Shawshank Trail that encompasses over a dozen filming locations. This cultural preservation has brought vital economic renewal to a region previously struggling with industrial decline. As Tim Robbins observes, "It's beautifully ironic that a place once designed to break the human spirit now celebrates its resilience." 22. The universal appeal. As the film approaches its 30th anniversary, its grip on audiences remains undiminished. Morgan Freeman offers perhaps the most insightful explanation for its lasting impact. Shawshank speaks to something universal in all of us, that part that feels trapped by circumstances, mistakes, or regrets. It whispers that with enough patience and hope, we can escape these self-made prisons. The film's power lies not in preaching about hope, but in demonstrating its quiet, persistent strength. It's a testament to the human spirit's capacity for endurance, and a reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope can light the way forward. 23. The dual nature of hope. Through Andy's journey, the film masterfully explores the complex duality of hope. It's not presented as a simple solution or magical cure-all, but rather as both a blessing and a burden. Red's iconic line about hope being dangerous resonates precisely because it acknowledges this complexity. Hope can sustain us, but it can also torment us with possibilities just out of reach. This nuanced portrayal elevates the Shawshank Redemption beyond conventional, inspirational storytelling. It doesn't just celebrate hope, it examines its cost, its risks, and ultimately its transformative power. Director Frank Darabont captured this essence perfectly when he said the film explores what cannot be taken from us: our fundamental humanity, our capacity for friendship, and our ability to find meaning in darkness. 24. The film's own redemption story. The Shawshank Redemption's path to greatness mirrors its own narrative themes. Like Andy Dufresne, the film's brilliance wasn't immediately apparent, but revealed itself gradually, winning hearts one viewer at a time. This slow burn success speaks to the film's authentic craftsmanship, from the meticulously designed character arcs to the subtle musical progressions, from the symbolic weather patterns to the carefully constructed visual language. What makes Shawshank truly extraordinary is how these technical elements never feel manufactured. Instead, they feel discovered, as though Darabont and his team were archaeologists uncovering a truth that already existed. This organic quality explains why the film has maintained its power for nearly 3 decades. It doesn't feel like cinema, but rather truth wearing cinema's clothes. 25. A living legacy. The film's enduring impact lies in its ability to speak to universal human experiences. When Andy tells Red that hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, he's not just offering prison wisdom, he's articulating a fundamental truth about human resilience. The weather patterns that mirror emotional states, the musical themes that evolve with character growth, and Brooks's story that frames Red's ultimate choice, these elements work together to create a deeply resonant exploration of the human spirit. As we close this analysis of The Shawshank Redemption, remember that great films aren't just watched, they're experienced, shared, and passed down. They become part of our collective narrative, teaching us about ourselves and our capacity for renewal. So get busy living and share this masterpiece with someone who hasn't yet discovered its magic.